Okay.
Hi there, it's Brian Sebastian, Movie Reviews and More, the worldwide TV network, formerly the Women's Broadcast TV Network, WomenOnTV.tv, and iTube 247 out of Franklin, Tennessee. And today we have a special show all the way out of Chicago. All right, who are you guys and where do you come from?
We are the PondHawks.
And we're coming from River Grove, which is just a little suburb outside Chicago.
That's what I wanted to hear. Talk about this. I was listening to a couple of your songs not too long ago, and I was like, they're actually pretty good. You do remind me, and you have every band has got their own unique style. I did think of like REO Speedwagon. I did think of a couple other things out of there because I'm that black guy that grew up listening to classic rock and roll music in an all white.
Well, but it'd be like Mario Speedway. You know.
Hey, that's even better. Talk about this because I love the name. How long have you guys been around for, and how did you came up with the name, the PondHawks? How did that happen?
Well, we started out another band in 2006. I had a band, and I invited Jorie. Long story there, and she was great. And shortly after, we became the PondHawks. Jorie and I formed this band, and a pondhawk is another name for a dragonfly. And I've got this Tiffany lamp with the dragonflies on it, and I was looking at the Tiffany lamp, and I was looking at this miniature little guitar hanging on the wall, and I go, I'm on the phone with the promoter, and he goes, and it was for a gig for the old band, and he goes, well, what's the new band's name? I go, let me tell you, I'll have it in 24 hours. And so I'm thinking this guitar with the dragon, and it fit the dragonfly body just perfect. And I told Jorie, I go, we'll be the Electric Dragonflies. And Jorie's like, no. She says, you're crazy. I go, yeah, I know I am, but what do you think of the name? So we looked up, we're into nature, really big time into nature. And we got the books on different types of species of dragonflies. And one of them is called a pondhawk. And it's so kind of cool because it's not real scientific. It's just like the pondhawk. It's just like the hawk of the insect world, hovering over the pond, the surface of the pond. I go, that's kind of cool. So we agreed on it. Yeah. And that was it. It was good.
See, I was looking at her face because I'm always wondering what the woman's point of view is, because women have their own way of thinking. They definitely have their own way of hearing. Men have their own way of thinking, and men definitely don't listen to women most of the time. I'm on a women's TV channel because, 13 co-hosts I have, they're all women. I mean, they're listening to me, but I'm like, I want to hear more what you want because this is your time. This is your voice. This is women empowerment. So that's why I was asking, because I love the name. And I always wanted to know this, and it's always good to hear the stories and how people and bands come up with their names, because a lot of times they don't get a chance to tell it anymore. But it reminds me of the early days. This is why we came up with it, and this is how we came up with it. That's why.
Well, cool.
And you guys are like, yeah, who cares?
We're both into nature.
It was really different, so that's why I think I liked it, and we like nature and stuff,
and a little double entendre in there. It said PondHawks, and it says our fans in England think it's because we're across the pond, the PondHawks, and our fans in America say, oh, okay, well maybe they're from England. It's right. Across the pond, the PondHawks. So it works, When you think about it, the world is just a big...
And that's very, very true, because we think about it across the pond in a way. What are your fans outside the U.S. been thinking of what you guys are doing as a group lately and what you really can do right now? Talk about that.
Well, you know what? We have on Facebook, we have over 600,000 fans. We have fans all over the world. Currently, our band is the #1 indie band on Reverb Nation, which has 4 million artists on there. So and we have people from all over the world. They just, and they ask us questions, and they love our music, and it's fun when we start putting out new stuff. They're like right there. Oh, we can't wait to hear this. So it's fun. It's fun.
They've been very supportive. All, you know, and it's not, you know, it's the United States, of course, England. We've got stations in Australia, South Africa, Germany, Italy, Asia,
everywhere.
And they're very supportive. And you know what the cool thing is? The really cool thing about talking globally. Nowadays, there are literally places in the world that don't have running water, but people have cell phones. Okay, I mean, just cell phones are just so. And if you got a cell phone, you've got internet, and they listen. And somebody will, I mean, be from somewhere, you know, anywhere in the world, in the planet. I say, and they use the translator. You know, we don't speak each other's language. Somebody will never meet some soul will never meet, will text us in translation and says, your song made me happy today. Your song made me think of a loved one that's maybe not, or whatever. It made me smile today. That's the coolest, touching somebody's soul, that somebody you'll never meet, will never even speak the same language, but we've touched each other's soul. That's the cool thing. I mean, we're not in this to become rich and famous, blah, 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 but we're in it to touch other people's souls, because that's what life's about, you know what I mean?
And our music, we like to have a message in our music, you know. Our songs are, you know, we think of things that happen in our lives and other people's lives, and we just kind of write from our soul.
Right. And if it happens in our lives, it happens in everybody's life. You know, we're all in this stew together, you know, and it's just, people like, I can relate with that, because I remember being a kid, and, you know, I listened to, say, a Jim Croce record, and I said, oh yeah, I got that. I remember breaking up with, you know, or this or that, or something you can relate with, you know.
You know, that's interesting, because I love the aspect of, been talking to a lot of British bands lately, and it's one of those things where it's fun, where their first time coming to the US, who they grew up listening to before they came over, going back to their native country and having friends in another country that they never knew that they were going to have. And it's almost the same thing as like when we travel, we have friends outside the world, outside each other's countries. And that's a special thing to do, you know, and that's kind of what the world is about, being friends. And it's almost like there's a lost art, and it's kind of sad, which I think goes back to what your songwriting is, wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, we kind of, you know, feel what everybody else is feeling, and I think people can identify with our music because of a lot of the subjects that we write about in there, and we just have a sense of, I mean, what's happening in the world. It isn't like we're just in a room just saying, well, oh, okay, let's do a rock and roll song.
Yeah, this will sell. This is
yeah.
going to sell. Let's write this. No, it's not like that at all. And and it's just like the new song, Invisible Stranger. Jorie and I are on the phone, and all this stuff's happening, and it's, oh my gosh, and it's all over. It's, you know, overseas, and it's coming here, and this whole feeling of angst and what's coming on, and Jorie's like, oh, it's just terrible. It's just like this invisible stranger's coming, and I go, that's it. I go, and she always comes up with these great Jorieisms, we call them, you know. And I was,
of course she does, because she's a
like
woman.
Yogi Berra. She's like the Yogi Berra of the music world. You come up with these yogiisms. She's come up with these Jorieisms. It's like, we got to write a song about you. Yeah, I was going to say that. We got to write a song. So we sat on the phone, wrote this song in like an hour over the phone. Of course, we massaged the lyrics here and there over the list. Wrote it early March, right?
Right.
And recorded it in March. unfortunately, we weren't with the whole band because we couldn't be together
Yeah,
when we with the band. So we had to do it. This is more of a solo thing, little Patrick. We have a surprise guest on there that happened to be quarantined with. But it's cool. We'll let you in on that in a little bit. But yeah, it worked out real good.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
See, it was that woman's point of view, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep. It sure was.
Talk about from the woman's.
All the time.
Talk about from the woman's point of view. Emotionally, what was that like for you, Jolie? Just to be kind of locked down. What was that like for you? And what was going through your head, maybe through your pen as you were starting to write, also?
Well, for me, it was kind of like, gee, now I got this alone time for myself. You know, I thought, I got a lot of things I can do now, you know, because I can't go anywhere, you know. And after a while, it's like, well, maybe I'll go outside, but I'm not going to go near anybody. And yeah, I was just, you know, very afraid in the beginning. But, you know, you sort of learn the rules, you know, you wear a mask, you social distance and things like that, and you don't do stupid things, right? And I just sort of got used to it, and it's a way of life now for me.
So how long was it before the band could get back together? And what were you guys talking about? Because everybody needed everybody's support. I was telling everybody in 2018 it was just going to happen, so I was already prepared for it. And it was like I had to make sure my team was okay because a lot of them are used to performing, whether it's on a fitness stage or on a regular singing out there, you know, going to the NAMM convention. And all of a sudden, it's like, you can't do any of that stuff. I was like, we were already at 4.2 million views a day and counting. We're at 6 right now. I'm like, let's just keep doing what we're doing because it's working. It's already set up. So now we have to help people like yourself, the musicians, kind of get everybody going and get new audiences who may not have had the chance to listen to you guys. And I think that's really good.
Well, yeah, you know, I can appreciate that, you know, because it was kind of same thing, you know, like we would call the guys in the band and say, hey, you know, we can't get together. You know, it's this quarantine thing going on, but you know, I'll have to take over on drums and you know this or the bass or this and you know doing all the some keys and this and after I got it done, I was like, and you know, and Jorie putting on her synthesizers and her keyboards and harmonies because her and I we work together and we write these songs together for a 2-part harmony. That's the one thing that drew us together was our 2-part harmony. It's just like something we have like cosmically, you know, and we you know, good, better, and differently, we sound like each other when we're singing. And the same kind of timbre in the voice. And that's when I met her, it wasn't an audition for the band. Which we'll get into that if you ever have us back again. Well, it's a big, long story there, but it was for something else. But I was like, oh my gosh, she sounds like me. And I was like, we could do like Everly Brothers, except Everly Brother and Sister, you know. And so Phil and Donna is Phil and Donna, you know. But, you know, and so, you know, so it just works out. Just worked out. We're lucky for, you know, trying to do the best with it that we can, you know, and we appreciate you having us on the show.
Well, and very true on that. What do you see the PondHawks between now and the rest of the year? And then for future touring plans sometime next year, what do you guys see everything going right now for you guys?
Well, I think, yeah, we're always hoping, yeah, that, I mean, you know, we've done concerts. We were doing one every year where we'd get like over 8,000 people would show up. You know, we were the only band. So, and it was outdoors, and one time it was 103 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
And there was no shade, and people showed up. I was thinking, if I wasn't in the band, I wouldn't show up for this, you know? And
You were getting loopy.
Yeah,
She was getting kind of loopy from the heat. She was like,
I was like,
she's
oh,
like,
yeah.
and we had to send out, somebody ran home. This is what great fans. Somebody ran home, got a bar stool from their basement.
Oh, yeah, I was like,
They lived nearby, came back.
It was so hot, yeah. It was,
got a bar stool so she could sit and play keyboards.
yeah, otherwise
It was like a
pass out.
2-hour show. It's like, you know, because they were at the sound check. They go, oh, we'll be back before the show starts, and they were there for the sound check. Nice people.
Yeah.
And where was that at?
That was what West Leyden High School. It was in North Lake, Illinois.
Wow.
It was a fireworks show.
Yeah, afterwards. Then there was
Afterwards-
there was more heat.
Afterwards, yeah, it was fireworks. And,
It was hot. But it was good.
For the audience members who haven't heard you guys, talk about what your sound is like so they get an idea.
well, it's kind of like it's pond hockey. You know.
They call it like they call it Beatlesque because we just loved, you know, the throwback
Yeah.
to the 60s classic rock.
And we're huge. Do you remember? Are you old enough to remember the Monkees?
Well, yes.
Hey, here with the monkeys. People say a monkey around. Anyways, my
I
band.
bet you I'm older than you guys.
Oh no, but nobody's older than us. Are you kidding? No. So anyways, I would open for like Mickey and Davey with my band, and then when Jorie came around, and this is going to kind of tie into the thing I said later on. We're going to talk about her great stuff. This is a great lead in. So I was like, hey, you know, so. You know, we open for Mickey and Davey and, you know, this and that. And she goes, well, I'm Paul McCartney's photographer. So I work with Paul and Linda McCartney, and I'm a photographer for Ringo too. And so, you know, I was like, oh, so we both have little tie-ins on opposite ends, which is why she came to our rehearsal hall. She was going to show a slideshow of stuff she'd done with Paul and Linda. And I had a buddy who had done video for Paul McCartney. Paul hired him for about 48 hours to follow him around, and Paul was shooting this video. And I says, I'll be the fly on the wall and just listen to these two. Great guy named Randy Gracen did the Space Within Us.
Yeah.
Space Within Us
Yeah.
video for Paul. And of course, Jorie did best-selling book on Paul McCartney after working with him for all the time. Great. Anyways, so, and she'll get into that later. So anyways, I'm going to be the fly on the wall. I invite them, and I'm listening to them talking. And it was our rehearsal room that we used to rent. And the band, my old band, comes and says, look, we're going to rehearse or what? You know, we paid for this place. We got to rehearse. I got a gig coming up on, you know, Friday. I go, okay, Jorie, Randy, do you mind if we rehearse, just do something? She goes, oh, it's okay, go ahead. So we're singing, we're practicing, going through a few numbers, and I see Jorie, she's sitting on one of the foldback speakers with, you know, and then she's playing it. She finds that we got, you know, musicians, we got junk, you know, laying all over. She finds that picks up tambourine, like, and it's like, and I go, oh, she's keeping a good beat, and I see then she's singing along with some stuff because we didn't do as many originals in that band as we do in this one. So I go, hey, you know, having some fun. Come up to my mic. Let's do a little singing. And all of a sudden, her voice just blows me away. I go, she sounds like a female me. She's like, her and I probably sound like a male her to her. You know, it's like we're like the same timbre in our voices. I go, I've been searching for this my whole life. You know, so anyways. And you continue the story from there because you take it. So anyways, that's the lead in.
Well, yeah, but then he came over and he said something like, we have a show in 4 days, and I'd like you to, you know, be on stage and sing with us. And then I said, are you crazy?
I says, yes, and I've got the papers to prove it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No.
And, you know, so I knew a lot of the songs that he had in the set. And I just needed to work on the original stuff. And I was up there with my tambourine and everything. And he said, you know, we have lots of fans. If they don't like you, you're not going to be in. And I'm like,
not me. That was, you know. You know who that was. We won't mention any names.
Yeah, right. And,
That was
yeah, right. Somebody who's not in our
right,
band.
right from the get-go. I knew this was it.
Yeah, it was kind of like we're getting a lot of trouble going on there. But it worked out really well, and yeah, we got a lot more fans.
Yeah, it worked out great. It was an Oktoberfest. It was Friday the 13th, actually.
Yeah.
So Friday the 13th is a really lucky day for the PondHawks.
For us,
yeah, there you
it
go.
was for us, yeah.
It was windy that day.
You know what's funny about that is I was talking about your book a couple years ago on my other radio show because my friend Zoriana Kitt would always do something with Paul and Linda. You know, she was in a Marvel movie as an announcer. And it was interesting. She was at an event and then she just kept running into them. But it was interesting. I knew of your work. To me, you're like the Annie Lennox and the Neil Preston of stuff. I mean, your stuff is fabulous. So I just wanted to let you know that. So I knew who you were, but I had never run into you in any of the circles. So I just wanted to let you know that. Of course.
Oh, yeah. You know, I photographed a lot of famous people. So I'm going to start working on the book that has all those other people in there, very famous people, a lot of rock stars. And, you know, I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's worth it. I mean, the Paul McCartney book, I Saw Him Standing There, is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame library. So that's kind of cool.
And she went, they offered her a brick in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for her, you know. I wish I could just turn this and show it because it's sitting on the ledge
with our
right
band
now.
in there.
So this is how nice she is, Brian. This is how they says you can have a brick in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you know, outside the library. She goes, "Can I go in as a PondHawk?" Like, sure you can go.
I could
in.
have my name on it, you know.
Yeah, sure you can go in as a PondHawk.
Yeah.
So she goes, "Jorie Gracen, I'm ready to say, the PondHawks puts my name first. Mari Novelli, Jorie Gracen."
Yeah.
The PondHawks have landed. How nice was that?
It's right outside the door there, so people can step on it.
Of course, when you see the gum, the chewed gum, it's right on my name.
All the garbage is right
People
on
are on there, you know. So besides that,
You know, the funny thing about that is I'm all about women empowerment, gender empowerment. I think it's very, very important. But the collaboration of how you two met and where you are today, that's always very special. People like to hear those things. You give inspiration to people who look up to what you're doing. And I think that's really, really important. And then when it comes to the visual side of stuff, again, like I said, in my mind, I think of you as Annie Lennox. You're right there. You're there with Neil Preston. And it was an honor to know them and call them friends. So, yes, of course, you guys will be back again. You'll meet the other two girls, you know, out of the 13 the next time I have you guys back on. But it was one of those where
thank you.
everybody
Thank you
has
so much.
a place where they came before. And a lot of people don't get a chance to talk to where they were before. And I always think that should be brought out.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, we feel like we're like a yin and a yang together. And, you know, it's us. And, you know, when we're working on a song, and it's how it goes. And because we have our songs are like our children, okay? When you have a child and you're raising it from inception to fetus to birth. Finally, birth is after it's mastered, you know. It's like, okay, this is it. And it's like, and we have some real, I mean, when we respect each other's viewpoints on it. So, you know, it's got to get past her. It's got to get past me. And we trust each other enough. We know, well, they're passionate enough about this one. Must make some sense either way. And that's where the yin and the yang, the polarity, it works out. So we're satisfied with it. Now, here's the deal. Now it's our child. Our song is our baby, our child, our footprint in the sand for future generations, whatever. Now, here's the thing. It's from a Seinfeld thing. The ugly baby syndrome. Sometimes you can have an ugly baby where the parents say, "What a lovely baby. I really love this." And somebody's like, "That's an ugly baby." Yes. So we do ask our friends, "Do you like the song? If it's no good, tell us, because we don't want to put it on the album." We've had a couple of songs like, "Yeah, I know you guys really love this album. This song is your baby, so And there's a couple times like, we'll hold it back and we'll mess with it a bit and put it on another album. And it always works out, don't it?
It does, yeah, because, you know, when you're recording stuff, you're hearing it all the time, you're listening to, and sometimes you just don't really hear it after a while. So you have to have other people come in and say, you know, do you think this sounds good or what? You know, and it helps. It helps.
And you hear it like you're listening to a song like 300 times, you know, and then it'll be 3 in the morning. You're like, you're sleeping. All of a sudden, wait a minute, the French horn. I got it. We got the French horn. This is where it's gotta go.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's.
Well, you know, it's funny about that. I'm not that songwriter, but what I've heard and what I've seen, talking to the Wrecking Crew, the remaining, you know, members of that, of playing on all those famous albums with all those famous singers, and just being able to play their notes of what was written for them, and then talking to, you know, the Motown, everybody who played on all the Motown stuff. It was an honor to interview these people because they're not alive, most of them anymore, and it's very sad. So I think songwriters are an eclectic bunch, but I think they're very special. One of the best shows I ever went to was the ABSCAP, the Songwriters tour. I've never seen so many happy people that people would never recognize on the streets in my life who were songwriters. And I go, why are you guys so happy? They go, Brian, no one knows who we are, but they've heard all of our songs. And plus we get the royalties from that. And I said, that's it. And I never forgot that. So I look at all you songwriters as like, deep down, you guys are just happy and giggling because you're writing these hit songs that people may not know your face sometimes, but they know your songs. And I think that's very special.
It makes us feel good to put smiles on people's faces with the songs. And not every song is going to be happy, but sometimes a melancholy song will make somebody feel like, I'm not alone. Somebody else has felt this or gone through this, and it gives them strength, you know.
What keeps the PondHawks together?
These handcuffs right here. No, it's kidding.
That's it.
Because as you know, when you guys are recording and then you go on tour, it's not an easy thing. And I don't think people really understand what that grueling life is when you do tour, but at the same time, oh, we're going to go back on another tour. And some people said, no, we just got back. That's not an easy gig to do.
You know what, Brian? The thing is that keeps us together, I'd say, besides the creativity, that's what fuels us and gets us through. You know, it's life's not just a bowl of cherries, but you know that, you know, everybody. But the creativity, good, bad, or indifferent, like I say, that keeps your mind focused away from all the hells of life that you gets doled out to you, and it's just what happens. But the thing that really, really keeps us together is our humor. We both have, she cracks me up.
It's really good. He used to be a stand-up comedian.
I used to work with Emo Phillips, Judy Tenuta, all those, you know, Chicago-based people. I open folk music. You know, I'd open up, the folk singer, opening up for the, you know, and all of a sudden, and after a while I go, hey, I could tell a few jokes. I could do this, and you know, so kind of worked my way into it a little bit. But we're always cracking each other up, and the humor keeps it going for us. When things get when things get the roughest of rough, the seas get choppy, we'll crack jokes.
Yeah,
that's all you can do. That's all you can do. You know,
that makes sense.
And look for him.
Give your social media links for people who may not know, who haven't reached out to you guys yet.
Pardon me?
Your social media links.
Oh, media links.
Okay. This is real easy. Okay. It's, the name is PondHawks. It's like pond and hawks, you know, and everything, it's www.pondhawks.com, Instagram, PondHawks, you know, it's like Instagram / the PondHawks, Facebook / the PondHawks. So everything, you can find us on everything, just put the PondHawks after it.
What do you
Makes it easy for us.
fans from a lot of the fans that were locked down? What were you guys hearing about them? Because I'm sure they were reaching out for like inspiration from the band.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot of people they were talking about. Some of them were actually healthcare workers, and they were going in and saving lives. I mean, they would just tell stories, and and the thing is, they were really brave too, because they knew, all the things that could happen, and some of them did get sick, but they recovered. But I got to hear a lot of stories, and they say they listen to our stuff, and it just gets them through, because it kind of takes their mind off of things, So it's good to get the feedback. Even on this new song, people are like, they love it because it's not something depressing about, I mean, the virus itself is, we have to live with that. But the song kind of gives you a feeling of hope, lyrically.
And the key line being, we're going to see the morning's rising sun.
Mm-hmm.
And we do mention that in the two choruses, actually a couple of middle eight bridges we use as choruses. And at the very end of the song, a cappella, we sing rising sun. So end on a high note. We're gonna see the morning's rising sun.
Yeah. We're gonna hear cars honking.
And we're going
now.
when we're outside. Hey, hey, hey.
Well, you just made me think of the House of the Rising Sun.
Yes, we're gonna see the morning's rising sun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's a positive thing.
Yeah, right.
No.
And we will.
We will.
This is gonna go away. So
we'll beat it somehow, because we will do it. Human race will beat it.
Right.
Talk about the way that Mother Earth is right now. The band is connected to that, probably anything that's environmentally friendly, but also getting back to nature. What are the aspects of things that go hand in hand? Because that's how I see your band. It goes hand in hand with what Mother Earth is coming up with.
Well, it does, and we do spend a lot of our time with nature. Got a little pond out in the backyard I dug out and let it natural. Got the frogs and the tortoise. I have a tortoise, but he comes in, and now I got a little corral, pen where he likes to go outside Chicago.
Terrence.
Oh, his name is Terrence.
Yeah.
But just in the summer, because in Chicago it's too cold in the winter.
Right.
He's got inside. But
you got Gertrude.
Gertrude the bullfrog was a tadpole last year. Yeah, I got 3 frogs in the pond. 2 of them are really shy, and Gertrude, which Jorie named. I think her last name is Higgins. Gertrude Higgins, right?
Higgins.
That's something like that. But Gertrude comes up and looks at me like, "What are you doing? What are you? Are you a human being?" No.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
Is that
oh,
what I was like?
wow.
No.
You know what you guys made me think of? I heard a couple things. I heard the House of the Rising Sun. Jeremiah was a bulldog. That's what I heard with you guys, like putting your little lyrics together. It's kind of funny, actually.
Oh, wow. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's a lot of our influences.
Yeah. In the 60s, 70s, I mean, like, our biggest influences, of course, Beatles. That's where we met at a Beatle convention. Long story there. Hey. But the Everly Brothers, huge Everly Brothers, like the 2-part harmony. Like I say, when we write songs, we write it with 2-part harmony involved. ELO, Jeff Lynne, brilliant.
Oh, yeah.
And like huge Jim Croce fans, which is right off that more almost folk rock.
Yeah. Storytellers.
Yeah, storytellers. Stuff like Carole King, incredible back in the days. Like, well, you need a song? Here you go, boom, and just incredible. Some of the writers from the day, They just
They influenced us. I mean,
they
it's like,
influence.
but you know what? We kind of filter all of this. I mean, you know, we love so many bands and songwriters that sometimes you think, well, you know, when you write something, you think, oh, you know, we got to make this original and make sure it doesn't sound like, you know, somebody else's song. That's a whole other thing too. And so far we've been really good at that, where we've sort of filtered all that sound, and it, you know, it may be Beatles, Monkees, or whoever,
Right.
and then it comes out PondHawks.
Well, and then there's the Monkees too. Okay, say it was like a dream come true for me to work with the Monkees, and then getting to be, you know, to know Michael Nesmith through one of the musicians that worked for Davey and Mickey. He says, "Oh, you gotta get on this website." And we became friends. And Michael, for Davey, well, Davey and Mickey, I had mentioned, but Michael Nesmith's Video Ranch, they threw us record release.
Oh yeah, for our Blue Light.
For our Blue Light
album
online. It was so nice.
Yeah.
Great people. Can't say enough about them. But you know, it was like that was all those when you do meet the people that you know you were fans of, and you know get to know them on a different.
As musicians,
and it's really
yeah.
nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the cool thing is though, they're wonderful human beings, great human beings.
If you two had the choice, besides the PondHawks, obviously, who would you have loved to have sung in? What band and why?
It'd be Wings, Paul McCartney and Wings, for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I probably wanted to have been. I would have wanted to have been one of the Monkees.
I could see that. Makes sense. A couple tunes that you want the audience who have never heard you guys before to go and check out.
Which tunes would you suggest to hear?
Yeah, a couple songs that you would love the audiences that you guys have recorded to go and check out.
Oh, well, our songs, you can find them all on reverbnation.com/PondHawks.
But which song?
But the song, we got so many.
If you had one song, what would be the one song?
Of our songs? That's kind of a hard choice, but well,
Time's up. No, just
probably Midnight Howl.
I was just gonna say that. Midnight Howl would be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Something with a lot of harmony in it, you know.
And Drive is a great song.
But the thing is, none of our songs sound like the last song,
Mm-hmm.
but they do have a signature sound.
Right.
So, like, I say, open up a bottle of wine and listen to all of them. That's what I say.
Just everybody pick which ones they like and tell us.
Two bottles of wine. Listen to the whole.
And people would love that because it's that time. It's the lyrics that you guys wrote, being inspired, taking their minds off a lot of things that have been going on in the world for better or for worse. And that makes a lot of sense.
Well, we also try, you know, for people who are listening on headphones or earbuds, we try and make, you know, ear candy in there, stuff that moves around, and, you know, so it isn't just, you know, hearing it, you get like this three-dimensional sound thing going around your head when you're listening.
That makes
And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun doing that, you know, because what we'll do, we'll write something, we'll record it, and say, now let's mess with the editing and make like the guitar going.
Yeah, like
this
move
ear,
around and stuff.
like the tremolo on this last song for the lead guitar, which was a guy named Joe V. Novelli. And we'll get into that later. Anyways, I go, let's try tremolo guitar. I wasn't real familiar with the tremolo guitar because it's a early 60s things, Ventures, you know, that kind of stuff. And the old tremolo guitar would be like, right? This is a different one. This is from the Elisa's part. It goes, it's not right up the center. And it's like, and when you listen to this stuff on headphones, it's just like,
It moves around. Yeah.
makes your whole
It has
brain
like
go
that
back and
effect
forth.
to it. Yeah, it's
kind of cool.
guitar. Yeah.
So do suggest, if you can listen on headphones or earbuds to any of our songs, please do. Because we do take a lot of extra time out to make the ear candy. So for the people who listen on the headphones.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important. And like I said, I found someone who made women's headphones, believe it or not. And it was a young lady who described it to me. Women hear things differently. They do. And they hear the music differently. And I found that fascinating that she said that. I'm like, I didn't know that part. So I started to change things around. Once she said that, I'm like, hey, if I've got an all women crew, I want them to be happy. You never want to have an unhappy woman. That's not good, right?
Right. Well, that's a good point because we, both hear things differently in the songs. That's how we can sort of source out if something needs to be, done over or, because we just hear stuff differently.
Our range of hearing is different. Not just being two different individuals, whether it's male or female, but she does hear different. I hear different. There's different dropout points in both of us. So I'm blessed to have Jorie as a songwriting partner and co-producer, and been waiting for this my whole life. So.
And that makes sense.
We're going to try to make the best of it while we
Get
can.
your social media links one last time.
While we're here on this little granite planet. Get your social media links.
One last time. Go ahead.
Yeah. We have we have PondHawksmusic.com and we have PondHawks.com, and you can find us on Facebook. It's Facebook.com/the PondHawks. We're on Instagram. Yeah, just look up PondHawks. So there's really nobody else on there named PondHawks. So you can find us. Twitter, the PondHawks. Just pretty much we're just everywhere.
And if you can't find us there, you can find us at the bar, just around the corner. Just kidding.
Yeah. Inspiration from a mom.
Or in the studio. There's a little fridge in there.
Yeah.
That's funny. Hey, I want to thank you two for coming on. I really appreciate it because I always loved the name. I just never really knew the correct story of how it is. But it's also good to hear from the artist because I love how you two met. And I think that's very, very special. And then the songwriting that you guys have, I can't wait to tell a few of my other friends who may not have heard you guys. I think it's really, really special. So I want to thank you guys for coming on Movie Reviews and More. And as I always say.
Well, thank you, Brian, for having us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great.
And like
I
said,
interviewer.
Yeah,
it's the PondHawks. It's about the PondHawks. And if you see someone without a smile, please give them one of yours because the PondHawks says the world needs it, and it does.